Nebraska's most watched news. This is NTV News at 6.
Good evening. We thank you for joining us tonight at 6. Farm income may be hitting rock bottom. This year, the state's producers will make half what they did just 6 years ago.
So convincing farmers to invest in wildlife habitat's a tough sell. Steve White has more on a program trying to change all that. Steve, with low corn prices, what farmer's going to want to invest in conservation? What do you think?
Well, Seth, but if farmers don't do it, who will? That's a challenge more than a dozen organizations are putting their money into.
He's the marsh with a marsh.
Just like what we're standing in.
Gale Marsh farms in Hamilton County, but a section of this field always seems to flood.
You might get a crop 1 out of 5 years.
Instead of fighting nature, he's working with it, planting native grasses to improve wildlife habitats.
This is a migratory bird path, right? A very narrow swath comes through here.
Conservation groups are trying to improve wetlands for the millions of birds, including endangered ones.
Stop here during their spring and fall migrations.
But with 99% of that land privately owned, mostly by farmers, the rules were getting in the way of bringing them on board.
Our conservation programs wouldn't allow pivots to cross over the wetlands. Well, that's a non-starter because if the pivot can't do a full rotation, you can't maximize the irrigation efficiency.
Enter divots in the pivots. They've literally built bridges allowing irrigation systems to cross where they weren't allowed before, while upgrading them to be more efficient.
They shut individual sprinklers off where it needs to be watered.
Given low corn prices, farmers can't afford to invest in projects like this, but a new agreement signed on Gale's farm opens up funding.
That's the key portion of it. Agriculture needs some help to do this.
Irrigation companies work with wildlife groups, 15 partners in all. They'd like to expand to 10 farms.
This is a model that works in this area, and we can make this model work in other areas as well.
Gale can also rent his land to be grazed, which also encourages waterfowl to land.
They need a place to rest.
Now, the coordinator of the Rainwater Basin says they have more than $3.5 million to work with. They have identified other areas, and they're looking for 10 farmers to partner with.
Steve White live from Grand Island. Thank you, Steve. Nebraska